Hello everyone, my name is JWinder, and this is my presentation on internal and external communications at Riverside USD 114. We are going to take a look at internal and external communication and compare the two and then see what they look like in our district. Internal communication is defined as a communication that takes place between members of an organization. So in this case, we're talking about any communication that takes place between anyone employed by our district. Examples would be conversations between administration, faculty, and staff. And that could look a number of different ways. That could be a conversation between an administrator and a teacher, or an administrator and someone in the kitchen staff. Or that could be a conversation between a teacher and another teacher, or a teacher and a para. And then lastly, that could be a conversation between a secretary and a custodian, or a cook and a para. Some keys to internal communication at Riverside. Number one is to create open and honest two-way communication. Number two is to have face-to-face conversations, especially in difficult situations. I think a lot of times if you send an email, it could get taken out of context if you're talking about a delicate topic or something like that. So anytime you can have a face-to-face conversation, I think that's best. And number three is to make sure we are always strengthening student learning, supporting school improvement, and advocating for the school community. Next, types of conversations that will be had, or types of communication that is had in our district, would be staff meetings, school email, school newsletter, our Alert Now phone system, or face-to-face conversations. Now let's take a look at external communication and compare it. External communication is defined as communication between the organization and the external party. So in this case, the organization is our school, and the external party is anyone in our community that is not employed by our school. So these conversations would look like someone in our school who is employed by our school, like an administrator, a teacher, or a custodian, communicating with those outside our school, like parents, students, community members, community partners, civic, community, or religious groups. Some keys to external communication here. Number one would be to develop community relationships. I think it's very important to develop a great relationship with all of these diverse groups that I mentioned earlier, so that you can communicate effectively with them daily, weekly, as often as possible. Number two is to create that open and honest two-way communication. Number three is to have face-to-face conversations, especially in difficult situations. Like I mentioned earlier, I think sometimes things can get taken out of context. I know for me, we have a Class Dojo app that is a great tool to communicate with parents right away. I can message them if something happens or I need to talk to them about something. But I also know that sometimes important or emergency type things happen, and I want to talk to a parent face to face, or at least on the phone. And number four, to make sure in these conversations we're always strengthening student learning, supporting school improvement, and advocating for the school community. I think that's very important. I think it's very important that we're always engaging these people as much as possible. Anyone in the community, especially parents, they love to know what's going on in their child's life daily. Types of communication externally used here at Riverside. Number one would be a school website. They can hop on there and see whatever they want to see about our school. School Facebook, as you know, Facebook's very popular nowadays. We put alerts out daily the things that are happening in school, notifications for parents. Class Dojo, that app I mentioned earlier, great way for us to connect with parents right away. Community newspaper, the Kansas Chief. We put stuff in there weekly to inform our community what's going on in our schools. Face-to-face conferences, and then our Alert Now phone system. I found a great quote in our resources that I thought was fitting. Is about empowering staff to become ambassadors. Trust is a key challenge for today's schools. Employees use social media, and any of them can become an ambassador or anti-ambassador of the school they work for and have a significant impact through their networks when it comes to the perception and the reputation of the school. So I think it's very important that through our conversations in the community that we're always supporting school improvement, and we're always advocating for the needs of our school and our community, and we're always putting our students first and doing what's best for our students. I think it's very important that we create those relationships like I mentioned before, and we communicate as effectively as possible with our community at all times, especially our parents. Here's my resource page and my references. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.